Okay, now it says I'm live. So let's see if this works. I think. Did you hit go live? Yes, Angie, I hit go live. Yes. It now says I'm live. Okay. So, okay, good. Hi, Angie. I am the worst person on the planet for technology. So, hopefully, this will work. Let's see if this is. All right. Okay. Since I've got two people, that's good. Say hi. Let me know who's here. I think I got Angie. How do I see my comments? Okay, this isn't showing me any comments or anything if anybody is saying anything. Oh, there you go. There. Good morning, Patrick. Morning, Angie. Okay, so this is new technology for me, and I am the worst with new technology. So I'm going to ask that everyone forgive me, or at least the two of you that are here. So I was hoping to talk a little bit about fencing and different types of fencing, but what do you think, Patrick? Should we wait a couple minutes, see if anyone else joins us? I know we've had an issue with fencing at our place. I had temporary plastic deer fencing around the front garden, and the winter storms this year with the heavy snow we got just pulled it all down. That and a couple of deer ran through it. They even broke a string of lights. So this year we have to definitely change things to a more permanent fencing. Jason wants metal wire to go around the front, and I think that'd be good too. And then just put some, I'm thinking maybe chicken wire just across the bottom so that the chickens can't actually come through into the garden, or to try and deter skunks and raccoons, well, at least the skunks, from coming through. So anyways, don't know if anyone else is going to be joining this morning. I know Annie had said she was going to try. She sent me a voice message just a couple minutes ago, so I don't know if she was backing out or trying to help me, because I was panicking trying to get this thing started. I didn't know what to do. But so far things don't seem to. So one of the things I was going to ask was, what's on my agenda for today? Aside from this, I've got laundry and I've got bread to bake, and more seeds to start, more seedlings to plant on, pot on into larger pots. The loofah, some of those loofahs that I had in the little 9 cell have to be potted up quickly because they are rapidly outgrowing those little wee starter pots. Jason's trying to get me some new grow lights, some more grow lights, so that we can have better lighting for everything downstairs. Because where I start everything, where I have most things set up, it's in a rather dark room in the basement. It used to be a bedroom way back when this was a group home, but it's not. It's dark. It's got a tiny little wee window. It's not really very inviting, so we're trying to change that by growing lots of plants in there. But it needs storage. It needs lots of storage. Yeah, I just put them on the paper towel with water on the not even directly on the heat mat, just I put a plate on the heat mat and then the loofah seeds so that it wouldn't be quite so warm. And in 2 days, I was putting them into those seeds into soil because they already had their little tails sticking out the end. I'm trying to hold off starting anything too much else aside from a few flowers, just because, well, I have limited space, but also I don't want them to get crazy as they grow. I don't want them to outgrow things before it gets warm enough to put them outside. Because the last few years, everything went really, really leggy before I got anything outside. So it's just, it's what I've got to work with. So I got to try and really be patient. It's sunny today, so I want to start all the seeds today. But I've already started tomatoes that I hadn't intended on starting because I found a package marked from 2004, from shortly after we moved to Barrie when Matthew was just little. And they're called Balcony Charm. And so I thought I'd give them a shot, see if they would grow. And sure enough, I've got them. They're about a ½ inch to an inch tall now. They don't have their true leaves yet, but they're coming. And then I found a mystery pack. It actually says on it, it says tiny small tomatoes, black or could be yellow. Can't remember. That's what I wrote on the seed package because I did not write down on the paper towel what tomato I had squished the seeds out of. So that should be interesting. So anyways, I don't know if Patrick's still here or not. So how's work going for you, Angie? I don't even know what you do for work now, which is terrible. Some friend I am. Good morning, Lynn. Hi, sweetie. How are you doing? So, Angie, I don't think you were on the live stream on Saturday night, but in the middle, I was Lynn's guest, and in the middle of the live stream, my internet decided to cut out. Good morning, Marilyn. Work from home is CSR from... Oh, cool. So... Yeah, no problems, Lynn. I'm just glad you were able to join. I was starting to worry that I was going to be boring poor Angie to tears. So I'm glad my girls are here. Yes, and Patrick is still here somewhere. Distribution. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what a CSR is, so I'm sorry, Angie. I'll Google it after. So, first day of spring. Yes, I was just saying to Angie, I said, it's nice and it's sunny outside, so I want to go and just start every seed I can and, make everything, get everything going, but I don't have room. Okay, customer service rep. Okay, the kind of people I'm always calling because I don't understand stuff. Yes. Sun is shining and it's above freezing. Okay, it's last I checked, it was -2 here. Let's see if it's gone up a bit in the last 40 minutes or so. I doubt it. Oh, it's -1, so it's getting there. But it's nice. It's supposed to be a fairly nice week now after that colder weather. The winds that we've had, though, the last few days have been absolutely wicked. They ripped a tarp off over by the rabbitry, and the goats are really upset at the wind. It was funny, both June and Chantilly were standing on Saturday, standing in the doorway to the barn, looking up at the sky, and Jason goes, they're yelling at the snow for coming down. They're yelling at the snow saying, no, go away. The wind scares you. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the wind. It's brought down a few older trees around and branches around here, but as long as it just stays wind and doesn't become an actual storm, like a tornado or like any of those winds we had last spring with all those windstorms, I'm happy. So, yeah, the girls were hilarious. And of course, Mabel, just being the most chill goat you'll ever meet. Oh, she's a sweetheart. She doesn't care whether it's snow. She doesn't like the rain. She won't go out in the rain. But as far as if it's snowing or if it's windy, whatever, she's out there and she doesn't care. She's just standing there looking pretty. And she always comes straight over to the fence as soon as we go there. She'll go right over to the gate for her scratches. She loves her neck scratches. And if Jay doesn't come home as soon as he gets home, if he doesn't go down and say hi to Mabel, she gets upset. If she hears him, she starts crying. Like, Daddy, come see me. She's become Jason's girl. Big trees close to the house that need to come down. Yeah. We have one. I love it. It's beautiful. She gives a lot of shade. But if it ever falls and hits the house, it's going to come crashing through our bedroom roof. And it will land right on our bed. Yeah, well, goats in general do not like rain at all. They're not overly fond of snow, but they don't like being wet. In that way, they're very much like a cat. So it just got so high to have. Good morning. How you doing? So glad you're able to join us. I was originally going to talk about fencing, but now we're just talking goats and weather and seeds and spring and everything wonderful. So Yeah, it is really expensive to have a tree removed from, especially if it is right up by a house, just because, well, you figure their insurance. A friend of ours is an arborist, and his insurance per month is more than Jason's insurance as an electrician. So that says something. And they've shopped around, but it's ridiculous. You need to take down about 5. Yeah. Well, I was just saying we have one that if it comes down, it's going to hit my bed. Like it's going to come through the roof right by our bedroom. Using your pressure canners today. Woohoo. So what are you pressure canning, or just everything? I still have bags and bags of tomatoes in my freezer that I just never got around to. So I'm going to have to bring them up, boil them down for a full day, and then pressure can them the next day. Quoted $3,000. Okay, that's a little excessive. That's, yeah. And you're canning beef roasts. Oh, yum. Sounds delicious. I want to, after when we do our next batch of rabbits, I want to pressure can a bunch of the meat. And what I want to do, we have a favorite dry rub that we put on chicken, rabbit, pork, and it's so good. And it's 1 part salt, 2 parts sugar, and then half, so we do like one tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then we do a teaspoon each of cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, and cinnamon. I think that's all 4 of them. And sometimes I'll even put a bit of cardamom in with it. And a little goes a long way, and we rub that in. So I was wanting to try rubbing that in and putting that in with the meat when I pressure can it to see how it goes. You need to order a pressure canner. Lynn uses the Carry electric pressure canner, and because she likes hers so much, that's what I use. And yeah, I love mine too. Yeah, I don't know how much it is for the really big one, for the big ones. I have the one, it will hold 5, what is it? 5 of the smaller jars, or 4 of the 500 mil wide mouth. Beef roasts are on sale at No Frills right now. A huge one for 23. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a really good deal then. Okay, Carry brand is made by is Nesca. Okay, I didn't know that. Looked at the Carry, could only afford. Yeah, I forget how much my small one was here. I've never seen the large ones. I don't, so they only, it's the only downside is it's small, so you have 2. Yeah. Well, Jay was saying, in another little while, if we decide that we want to get another electric one, he's on board with that. Another thing we might do for the summer is get one of the large All-American and just use our outside, our propane stand, because that's what we did when we did our pickles last year. And we said afterwards we should have done a video on it, because here were Jason and I all bundled up the end of October doing pickles outside with, basically, we used a turkey fryer that Jason had picked up on sale. So we had that, and we had to just make sure that we kept resetting the 15-minute timer. But we're out there, we've got flashlight, our headlamps, and we've got we had a glass of wine, and we're sitting outside around this thing doing it in the middle of the, it was 10 o'clock or after 10 by the time we finished, so it was actually quite fun. So I haven't seen the very large, or the larger ones, so small ones around 150. Yeah, that seems about right for what we paid. Don't know if it'd be better to get a small electric, or it depends on what's going to work for you, really. Because if you've got, because it costs more. Like if you're running an electric stove in the house and you're using the non-electric pressure canner on your stove element uses more electricity than the electric pressure canner, than the Carry does. So there's that you have to take into consideration as well. It's not just the one-time shot, but also how much they're going to be in the long run, and is it going to really work? Big one over 500 Canadian right now. Ouch. Yeah, it costs less than that. They were over 800, so they're coming down. So thank you. I do have good points once in a while. They're seldom, so don't expect them too often, though. You can fit 6 largemouth pint jars in one load. Oh, then I don't know. I'm wondering if mine's even smaller than yours then, Lynn, because my largemouth, I could only fit 4 in at a time comfortably. I don't know. Glass top too. Yeah, we had to purchase a new stove because mine, 2 of the elements just completely stopped working, and Jason said it wasn't worth it to try to bring someone in to repair it. The stove itself was close to 20 years old, and it just wasn't working at all. So we were looking at a lot of the different stove types that are out there, and I was told that it's not a good idea if you use cast iron or if you do canning. It's really not a good idea, just because of the weight on the glass and the fact that it could scratch. Stove is glass top, so yeah. Oh, you're getting an outdoor canning. Yeah, I've told Jason that's a wish list thing for me. It's this year we have to replace the roof on our house, and because we have a mansard roof, it's not only the top part that has to be replaced, but then also those stupid sides. And it's the only thing I really don't like about my house, to be perfectly honest. Don't think the one you looked at holds that much. Old stove was induction and had to get the Presto canner that would work on it. Okay. Yeah. And you use both the canner and the stuff. Yeah, see, and they were telling us that it voids the warranty and everything else. So we found just a very simple stove. It has still has the rings on, just an old style stove. But we paid less than 800 for it, so I can't complain. And it works, and it actually works really quickly. Good morning, Templin Acres. Welcome. Glad you could join us. So much conflicting advice about glass stoves. Yeah. And a friend of mine back in Barrie used to have one. And I remember she had pulled something out of the oven that was burning. And she just put it up on top of the glass stove. And I don't know if it was how she put it down or what, but it literally just shattered the entire top of her stove, and everything, just the whole thing just shattered and collapsed in. So I'm just going to take a second and write down, because I am the worst person for names, and I apologize. So I'm going to write down who's who as far as, so Templin equals Katie, and Ashley's at CNC. CNC equals Ash. Yeah, so yeah, new stove last year. You told them what you were doing with your stove, and they still recommended it. Huh. I guess also it depends on where you go to purchase your stove and whether they know what's going, like if they have actual experience. Had your roof and siding replaced last year, so your canning kitchen never got set up. Out here, finding something curbside, like as far as a stove or something that is still in working condition, is rare. Most people, if they're replacing and it is going to be, they're going to get rid of the old stove, they're trying to sell it, and they're charging an absolute fortune for it. They're wanting practically new prices. Got an awesome deal on your canning barbecue at Costco last year, and it was never used. So is it just a really large barbecue, or is it something that's specifically designed for, for canning? Try to stay away from getting a glass top. Yeah. And yeah, I'm a klutz too. So the chances of me doing something to destroy it are very high. Good morning, Tracy. You're at the doctor's with your mom. Well, I hope it's just a checkup and nothing serious, and that everything is good. So, but yeah, my ideal setup would be to have just somewhere to a table with some running water, even if it's just my hose, but a table with some running water so that I can clean, process and clean everything, and then just pop it right in and be able to do the canning outside, especially when it's too warm in the kitchen inside the house, because we do not have air conditioning. So pretty much. Okay, good. It's just a checkup. That's good. Well, I hope everything goes well for her. Barbecue. Okay, so just a regular barbecue, but cast iron grates and a flat griddle too. Ooh, neat. You worry about that all the time. Best deal was when yours went out the day before Thanksgiving 2 years ago. Okay. Good morning, Cindy Squirrel. And how are you this morning? So, but yeah, like I'm still really new to canning. I used to make wine jams and jellies all the time when we lived in Barrie. Um, Chardonnay apple jelly, a Merlot cherry jelly, that sort of thing. A grape, or was the cherry with the cherry juice with the Cab Sauvignon. I can't remember now. It's been so long since I made those jellies. And yeah, they were delicious. Everybody loved them. I used to do them as, so that I'd have them as gifts when anyone would show up, if we were going to someone's house. And it was nice to have. Also, if we wanted them, they were really good with cheese and crackers, so it was really yummy. I worked for a short while with uh, I worked with Andre's Wine Limited. It's a Canadian wine company out of Vancouver. They produce everything from, they used to do Baby Duck was one they did, Spumante Bambino, or Asti Spumante. No, Spumante Bambino was theirs. They own Peller. Well, Peller Estates doesn't even exist anymore, really. And so, anyways, it was nice. I got to learn a fair bit about wines and pairing them with the different wines with the different foods and cheeses, and basically, you went with whatever flavor you had. I would just, if I had Chardonnay, I'd stick with apple so that it was easy. But back when we lived in the city, we would have people come over. We would go over to a lot of other people's places. Of course, sometimes I think I was only invited for dinner so that people would know, because people knew I would bring them a jar of jelly or two to thank them for their hospitality. So, waiting on your canner to come up to a boil, making Saskatoon berry jam this morning. Do my canning in the winter. Yeah, well, this year I was supposed to do a lot of canning this winter, and I was saying earlier, I still have bags and bags of frozen tomatoes that I have to bring out and get cooked off and put into jars that I have room in the freezer. Because what I do is I usually have so many tomato plants. Usually I grow between 200 and 250 tomato plants worth of tomatoes. And of that, about half of them are Amish paste tomatoes. And what I usually do is I will toss them in the freezer as they're ripe and ready so that I can then deal with them later when things aren't so crazy. Because otherwise I'd be forever just strictly canning the tomatoes and never have time for anything else. Yeah, it is a lot of tomatoes, Cindy. But our family goes through a lot. But this year we've kind of cut back on some of the higher acid foods. So I'm really trying to this year only grow 50 tomato plants. That for us will be really reining it in. As it is, I've already got about 20 started, and none of them were ones that I had originally intended, pardon me, originally intended on planting. So yeah, I use the large roasting pan. The giant black one, and I just put it in the oven, and I'll usually set it at maybe like 300 degrees and just do a slow roast so that it can evaporate and really just get the liquid down and thicken up. Sometimes we'll roast the tomatoes whole without their skins, but we'll put them in the oven whole, just drizzled with olive oil and some salt and pepper. And then we'll can that afterwards. Two at once. Okay. Well, I only have the one roasting pan, but I do have I have some smaller pan dishes that I'll use sometimes too. Plug-in electric roasters. Okay. I've never used a plug-in electric roaster. I know a lot of people use their crock pots for that kind of thing too. But whatever's going to work for you, I guess. Never tried it in the oven before. Hey, you're welcome. And if you roast the tomatoes with the olive oil and some salt and pepper, maybe a little bit of basil. Oh, so good. So yummy. We'll throw that just on top of rice with a little bit of meat as a side dish, and we'll call that dinner in the summertime sometimes. Love your electric roasters, both at a thrift store. Okay. I'll have to keep my eyes open. Now, the nearest larger thrift store that we have is Value Village, and that's in Stittsville. So it's almost an hour away. But yeah, I can keep an eye on there. I have 4 crock pots because I like crock pots. I do a lot of my cooking. Well, that's kind of also how I was raised, was with a lot of crock pot cooking. So, but I have the great big, what we call the family size. And then I have a small oval one, a small round one, what we call, the couple's size. And then I do have a large round one. Oh, and the canner. The electric canner can also be used as a crock pot. So I guess technically I could say I've got 4 or 5. You'll have to, Marketplace has lots to. Okay, I'll check out Marketplace. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Katie, if we made you hungry. Though I know for me, like this time of day, I start getting hungry too, because with the time we're up, I'm having breakfast at, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, between 5:30 and 6 in the morning, depending on what day it is and whether or not I've got my act together to get everything done in time to have breakfast at that hour. But I always say I don't care what time I get up in the morning. I'm still not going out to do the animals until 6:30, just because otherwise the chickens are running around in the yard making so much noise that we do have one neighbor who has started to complain lately. And I think it's just because right now we do have quite a few roosters. So they're going to be going in I've got to butcher a few more of those. Use electric. Oh, you use electric roasters as well? Okay, I guess I'm kind of out of the loop on the electric roaster thing. I have to admit, though, when I see things that are plugged in for too long a time, like I know they say, oh, you can put your crock pot on and, let, simmer off the tomatoes for 15, 20 hours, put it on overnight so you can cook it the next day. No way. No way. My husband's an electrician. I know that plugs can overheat, sockets can overheat, and I have to admit, I'm a little, I don't want to say afraid, but I'm wary about leaving things. Oh, say hi to your mom. Take care, Lynn. Okay, you use the crock pot for apple butter. I have never made apple butter. It's something that I haven't found really good apple butter up here. We used to buy apple butter when I was a kid. We would always go down to Florida, and we would drive down the I-75, Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia. And my mom always picked up apple butter in Tennessee. And we loved it. We absolutely loved it. But I only have one apple tree right now that's producing. And last year we had someone come in the middle of the evening, and they stole, because it's right down near the road. They cleaned out every last apple. I mean, there wasn't a single apple left on the tree. There wasn't a single apple on the ground. Nothing. So my husband is borrowing the game cam from one of our neighbors because it's way before hunting season. So he's going to be borrowing it this year and making sure that we catch whoever it is if they try coming back. It's just, we had someone ask if they could pick our apples for cider one year. And that one year we had said, okay, this year you can, but we want you to bring us a little jug of cider in return. We don't mind you taking some, but you bring us some cider in return. They never did. The next year he came when my husband wasn't here, and he was acting like an absolute bully. And we think, because I was telling him, no, not this year. You were supposed to bring some cider here. You didn't, no way. And so I think it was him. I think he was the one that did it. So I'm not impressed at all. But we're going to get out there this year, and we're going to make sure that any apples that are harvested are done by us. Because we know this guy usually comes around mid-October. And the thing is, for these apples, you have to have a good frost first before they really get sweet. And he came like the day after we had a frost. Yeah, unfortunately, some people do suck sometimes, but only the nasty ones. Fortunately, we have lots of good people here too. My one old neighbor, when he heard what happened, because we usually give him a small bag of apples for the deer, because he can't hunt anymore because he can't really see. But he'll put them outside his back door, and he'll just sit in his rocking chair and watch the deer come and eat. And it gives him a lot of pleasure. So we don't mind. He's done a lot for us over the years. He offered to sit out there this year with his shotgun across his lap and just wait. He says, I'll sit there all night. I don't care. I'll bring my case of beer, and and I'm like, no, it's okay. They're not worth that much. But we had plans for pie, and they're really good eating apples too. People, most of the time. So depending on individual experience, we agree that people suck, but most of the time, sometimes, occasionally, it depends on personal experience, I guess, as to how you feel. So, but we've been going for almost 45 minutes now. Gotta take care. Thank you so much, Tracy. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Yeah. But I'm thinking I'm going to end this just because I know we all have lots to do today. First day of spring always adds a whole another list of jobs to be done. So thank you so much for joining. I did enjoy talking with everyone. And hopefully we'll see you next Monday at 10. Okay? Bye-bye, everyone.